It's great to be pulling those athletes down as well. Joe Nelson making his way to the cage with the Binghamton Wrestling Championship shirt, so we know where a lot of his pedigree is going to come from. You see Luke Visengard, Cage Wars veteran, in his corner. Luke Visengard actually fought Al Morrow a few shows back.
I mean, and that's one way to kind of get a sense, but, styles make fights. We know that. And, A plus B doesn't always equal C in the fight game, but it is an interesting way to kind of, he fought him, they fought him and lost. You could kind of get a gauge or a sense of what could be happening in the cage when you start looking at matchups. So what do you expect between Ryad Hilali and Joe Nelson here tonight?
I'm going to expect Joe Nelson to utilize that grappling to his advantage. I don't know a ton about Ryad Hilali. He was a step in for David Galley, who was supposed to be fighting Joe Nelson, but unfortunately had to step away due to injury. So, again, one of those cases of we're going to learn something about an athlete that we've not had an opportunity to see just as of yet.
And I think in a lot of cases you can throw record out. I mean, obviously, you are what your record says, but you don't know the level of fights. But Joe Nelson comes in at a 3-1 mark, and Ryad Hilali comes in with 2 fights and a record of 1-1, according to our Cage Wars.
Well, he didn't come here from Canada to lose.
Right.
If you're making that trip and you're making that commitment, you are expecting to win and compete at this level. So I'm really excited to see what he brings to the cage tonight. Joe Nelson really excited back and forth. Ed Kinner having a conversation, going over the last second rules. Any questions? We got something holding us up out here on the corner. We'll see Big Dan holding up the entry of our competitor.
If you're just tuning in, thank you for doing so. You're watching Cage Wars, Rivers Casino in Schenectady, another sold-out night, Cage Wars 53. And we're coming off of a couple months ago. We had that incredible Mike Tyson fight night. If you were in Albany for that, if you watched it on Stimulus, thank you. We appreciate it. We're back here in Rivers, home of Cage Wars.
One thing to note here is we talk about body types. Ryad Hilali definitely has the length and reach advantage here. Joe Nelson being the wrestler, we know he's going to want to close the distance anyway, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
We haven't seen 2 guys that look like they're the same weight in there. We'll send it up to our ring announcer.
Mike Feldman.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the next fight on the card for Cage Wars 53 is our first championship fight of the evening. Our first championship fight of the evening is presented by Cage Wars MMA and Sticker Mule. It is brought to you by Bricklayers Local Number 2, Allied Craft Workers, and UA Local Number 7, Plumbers and Steam Fitters. We also want to welcome the newest members of the Cage Wars family, RDX Sports, and our good friend Edwin Rivera, and the team from the Aqua Training Bag. As always, as you've seen tonight, winners from tonight's fights go home with an Aqua Training Bag. The judges at cage side for this championship fight, Mr. Eric Homar, Robek Sisa, and Chris Polinsky. The fight doctor at cage side is Dr. Michael Sheridan. Tonight's championship fights are sanctioned by the United States Muay Thai Association. Executive Director Ed Kinner is in attendance. And now, for your first championship fight of the evening in our bantamweight division, 3 3-minute rounds, it's championship fight time! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in yesterday 135 pounds, representing Broome County Martial Arts out of Binghamton, New York, Joe the COVID Kid Nelson.
That's an interesting nickname.
Wait, did he say, is it
And
Celtic
his
or
opponent
COVID
across the
Kid?
cage, fighting out of the red
thought-
corner. Weighed in yesterday 134.6 pounds, representing JKS out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
We'll have to get clarification on that.
Ryad Hilali.
The COVID? You think it's the COVID
And
Kid?
the man in charge of the action of our first championship fight of
Yeah,
the evening.
that's what they said. We just got confirmation
No
from the
chance.
back.
It's the Celtic. It's got to be the Celtic Kid, right?
No, it sounded like COVID.
How are you the COVID Kid? Well, he's not a child of. He's not a child of the pandemic. That wouldn't make any sense. Unless did he acquire superpowers?
Maybe
during
we'll
the
find out in the
pandemic?
post-fight interview
Okay.
if he wins.
Well, you better ask him will you ask him what his nickname is?
If he wins.
If he wins, ask him what his nickname is. We thought we heard COVID Kid. Which doesn't make any sense. All right, guys, I apologize. Will is much more professional.
Here we go, Ryad Hilali doing a nice job using that lead leg, creating that distance, keeping that distance.
This is a championship fight.
You know, it looks like he knows Joe Nelson is going to want to close this distance. He's back. Nelson cornering him against cage.
I like Nelson. I like his stance. I like his level of aggression, but he has to realize he's going up against someone
Explosive entry.
Yeah, and his opponent's very long and leverage-wise. Great job by Joe to hold his own.
Let's see if he can elevate the taller man.
Oh, that's huge.
Excellent job turning that corner. Hilali trying to drag him into guard. Nelson doing a nice job.
He is aggressive, Hilali. Nelson. He is aggressive.
Well, he knows his path to victory is staying close, whether that's to punch or grapple. You hear the corner calling for the underhook. Knee on belly, looking to transition to mount. Hilali doing a nice job keeping that right leg, that right foot in the hip, into that leg. Half guard for Nelson. Again, Hilali doing a really nice job at, getting back to guard when he can, but Joe Nelson with the pressure.
Well, Nelson is he's just relentless, and he appears to be the kind of fighter that can just kind of suck the life out of his opponent.
Yeah, and that's a great word to use, relentless. He really is.
I mean, and this
he's like a dog on a bone right now.
Yeah, he's Hilali better do something quickly. I get the feeling that the ref is he's leaning in to make sure he's competitive.
Laszlo, who a very seasoned ref, just being aware of the situation. And again, Joe Nelson just trying to make it miserable. Ooh,
and Nelson has still got a minute or so. I don't.
Nice job by Hilali getting back to the feet. Now, if he can get off the cage and create that distance, that's what he needs for the final minute of this fight, or final minute of the round.
I'm impressed with Hilali's ability to get back up under those circumstances. It looked like Nelson had him in complete control. And now the fight is slowly starting to turn.
Hilali doing a good job keeping his balance. Nelson looking to trip that leg, take that table point out.
Well, let's see what happens now.
And again, Nelson willing to separate and create that distance to strike.
Yeah, but Nelson better be careful because he could be walking into a leg kick.
Yeah, you could, but a leg kick, you need several of those usually to accumulate.
Oh, I mean one to the head though.
Oh, that would be different. That's a head kick.
Head kick. Right, head kick. Nelson
looking for that high overhand.
Closing with a hard right.
Wow, saved by the bell.
10 more seconds and we could have had a champion.
Again, Ryad Hilali has something to be excited about. He was able to weather that storm. He was able to utilize his open guard. But Joe Nelson really closing that distance has got to give him some confidence.
Nelson is a pit bull. He was relentless for the entire 3-minute round. But you're right, though. Hilali got a taste. He knows what he needs to do.
Yeah, he absolutely knows what he needs to do, and he knows what he needs to not let Joe Nelson do, which is get close, make it a dogfight, allow him to create that angle for the overhands.
And I think if you're Nelson, if this fight stays on the ground, which it may or may not, clearly there's at least it appeared to be an advantage in striking with the ability to close a distance. Hilali you think would be able to keep him at bay.
Hilali tends to use more tools, more weapons, but Joe Nelson is using his preferred weapons better.
I think that's very, very, very well put. Second round.
Joe Nelson is what he is, and he's bringing it. He's a heavy-handed guy. He's very athletic, and he's got an amazing wrestling pedigree. Nice job. See, Ryad Hilali needs to do more of that. Keep him at the end of those feet.
Absolutely. And keep the volume going. Stay active.
That being said, though, that's hard, though, when you got somebody as explosive as Nelson who can close that distance that fast. You see him kind of stalking Hilali. looking for the opportunity to throw the overhand or suck those legs in and go for the takedown.
Yeah, and Nelson does a nice job because he's not careless when he enters. He's very calculated.
His hands are up. He's not making any unnecessary movements.
Very interesting round 2 to start.
But again, Ryad Hilali doing a nice job kind of shaking it all out and reestablishing himself. But again, Joe Nelson trying to take back this round.
Yeah, he's starting to let his hands fly here.
And he's really cornering Ryad against the cage, utilizing excellent lateral footwork.
Ooh, that was a good left there by Hilali.
Nice push kicks by Hilali.
And a head kick.
Oh, nice job by Joe Nelson showing us that rear push kick.
This is a really good fight. Both fighters doing a nice job on their feet here.
You know, absolutely. Joe Nelson is committing to the strikes, not just striking to take Ryad Hilali down.
And Hilali is starting to connect.
Nice leg kick, Nelson.
This fight leveled right out.
Halfway through the second round. Again, really, anyone's fight at this point if they can finish with a lot of control for the final 90 seconds. You know, one thing Ryad Hilali wants to do is get his back off of that cage. Get out of there because Joe Nelson is trying to time you for a punch or a takedown. Oh, nice
good
rip
shot
to the body.
And Nelson has very good ring generalship. He's very well balanced. He's a good striker. Kind of looks like a pure boxer, and he's got some power too.
But then he surprises us with those rear teeps, the rear roundhouse. He's got a little bit of everything.
Sure
just like
does.
salt and pepper, sprinkling it in.
That's it. He's like Mrs. McCormick's. I mean, he's just like he's like allspice. Do a little bit of everything. Is it Mrs. McCormick? It's McCormick.
All right, here we go. Ryad doing a nice job mixing the hands and the feet.
Man, I'll tell you, he is not too far away though from delivering a big blow with the kick. Hilali, that is. Oh, and a nice takedown.
Being aware with that body lock in the mount. You know, this is a great way for Joe Nelson to end this round. It's in his favor. All he's got to do is just control this. I mean, deliver a little bit of punishment, but this will establish this round for him.
But he wants to do a little more. He wants to do a little extra.
Well, if you get in this cage, you're an aggressive, competitive type person anyway. So, absolutely.
Nice job by Nelson here in round 2. Probably more than likely secured this round as well, and I think it's a pretty safe bet. He's up 2 rounds to nothing going into the third round here.
Joe Nelson doing a great job. You know, a lot of times when the longer guys on the bottom, they'll lock up the arms in a body lock, and they can elevate their hips high enough to roll the shorter man. And Joe Nelson being able to keep the center of gravity in his control, it's really impressive.
Yeah, he's got a lot of tools, no doubt about it. And if you're Hilali, you've got to come out and you've got to take a little bit more of a risk and chances. I mean, he's throwing, he's throwing his kicks, leg kicks to the head. He's got to be willing to engage, and then if it means, they're exchanging fireworks in the center of the cage, at this point, so be it. You've got nothing to lose.
Well, but at the same time, a few times when he's overextended, he's paid for that. Nelson's come in, secured the body lock or gotten the legs and sucked it in for the takedown. So, Hilali's aware of that, and as soon as it's gotten to the ground, he's not been able to get back up. So there's that double-edged sword if you're Ryad Hilali right now.
Well, one round to decide the 135-pound title between Ryad Hilali and Joe Nelson. And right now, Will and I think that Nelson in the blue corner is up 2 rounds to nothing.
Now Ryad Hilali meets him right in the center, though, with a look of determination.
This is what he needs to do, Will. He's got nothing to lose at this point, and I realize it's putting himself in harm's way.
Well, but as I said, that's a double-edged sword, but you're going to pick your path, and he chose his path is to go out on a shield, if that's the case.
And Nelson is quick to return fire. He's neither fighter backing down here in round number 3.
Ryad doing a good job to flash the jab out there to follow up with a hard right hand. But again, look at Joe Nelson stalking his opponent, putting his back against the cage. Bang, entry, takedown.
Nice job.
Control.
Very nice job.
Position right there.
So he's got 3 takedowns now, at least, unofficially.
And again, looking to take the back.
And he can start pounding away. He's got 2 full minutes here to work on his opponent.
And he's got that wrestler's grip. When they wrap their arms around you and they grip like that, it's like a vice.
And I would imagine Hilali probably feeling a little bit deflated now. You know, you had the opening minute. You're trying to change the landscape of the fight, and then you get taken down. It's got to be deflating, and then again.
You know, absolutely. But the competitor he is and he's showing, I mean, there's no give up in this young man.
Well, and we saw it at any time. I mean, the fight can change. We know what Hayden Speckhart was able to do in our last fight.
If you look, Joe Nelson does an excellent job using his head when he's on the ground. You know, his head is in Ryad's chin. It's putting pressure. You know, that wrestling attribute is really paying dividends here tonight.
Minute and 15 seconds left to
Looks
go
like
here in our title fight.
Looks like he's trying to sink it in. The corner's calling for the head and arm choke. They're saying squeeze. The corner's calling for the squeeze. Ryad's thinking about it.
He sure was.
Into mount. See, a lot of times with those submission attempts, a lot of times you can just use that to get a better position. And that's exactly what Joe Nelson did when it wasn't there. Oh! Excellent job by Ryad, but even a better job by Joe.
And a great job here by Hilali, who still has some time to work. And there's no quit.
Not at all. I mean, he's staying in the center. Joe Nelson, you know, kind of aware to the fact that he's in control. There's no pressure for him to push forward and take anything unnecessarily.
Man, he's coming with that leg kick. Oh, big left there by Nelson. He's coming straight up the middle with that head kick.
You know, again, long legs. Just Joe Nelson has done a great job keeping his defense up and being aware. Final few seconds.
Ooh. That's a good fight. That's a good win. I think that's a good win for Joe Nelson.
That's a good win. You know, Ryad Hilali jumped in here, took this fight on short notice. I mean, that's a great showing by this young man, coming all the way down from Quebec, Canada.
Good effort. And you can see, I mean, listen, Joe Nelson, he didn't appear to take a ton of punishment, but you could tell he took some pretty big strikes, and he kept coming forward. He's got some marks on his face. He was in a fight here tonight, a championship one.
He made the adjustments. He was aware of what his opponent was trying to do, you know, and he really executed his game plan, and he listened to his corner. Everything his corner did and said, you know, he was actively listening.
I think we'll see I think we'll see a 30-27. Regardless, we're looking at Joe Nelson looking like he's a champ here tonight at Cage Wars. Got to be a very exciting moment for him and his family. And for Ryad Hilali, hung tough, gave it everything he had.
He really did. You know, styles make fights, and Joe Nelson was able to utilize his style and overpower Ryad Hilali's style. Waiting for the official announcement from the judges to Mike Falvo.
You know, we have to remember, you know, in the case of even Ryad Hilali, it's his third fight. There's so much room to grow, and you learn from an experience like this.
All right, we're going to bring it up to the ring with Mike Falvo.
As always, ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice round of applause for these two great warriors in our first championship fight of the night. And now, after 3 hard-fought rounds of mixed martial arts action, we go to the judges' scorecard. All 3 judges have scored the fight 30-27. For your winner by way of unanimous decision and new Cage Wars Bantamweight Champion, out of the blue corner, Joe, the COVID Kid Nelson.
It is COVID Kid.
Well, why is he the COVID Kid?
We asked Jay Engelson to get the deets, so he better ask.
The COVID Kid? Because you... All right, well, I guess we'll find
Eddie
out.
Rivera, the inventor of the aqua training bag in there with Joe Nelson.
We got to get these answers, though.
Yeah, really.